So is your next car going to be an EV? Well, according to Canadians, a lot of you are saying that no, it will not be an EV. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what JD Power has found out about Canadians and EVs. Before I start on today's video, I would like to introduce our new Instagram account at LSFD Videos. You can see some daily updates on my NX450H Plus, which may not be shown on any future videos, and you can reach out to me directly via direct messaging on Instagram if you have any questions. And now, let's start with today's video. Hey, it's LSFD here today, and today we're here to talk about an interesting topic for Canadians, and something that is, I would say, Canada and United States don't agree on this, and that is EV adoption. So according to recent reports, Canadians are saying that they're not ready for EVs. And in the United States, it's the other way around. They're saying that I'm ready for EVs. So personally, I would say I think my next vehicle will be an EV. But my next vehicle probably would be in 2026, 2027. So at this point, I'm not looking for a new car. So maybe I don't apply to this report, but let's see what the report says. In the US, in the world, EVs are going hot and they're selling a lot of them. But now in Canada, this report is actually in reverse, and which is quite interesting. So when you look at here, it says range costs and infrastructure concerns drive year-over-year decline of 13% points. So they're saying that Canada's electric vehicle holdout are digging in its heels, with a majority of 66% saying that they are very unlikely or somewhat unlikely to consider an EV for their next vehicle purchase. That's according to the second annual JD Power Canada Electric Vehicle Considerations Study, released on June 29th, and it's saying that in Canada, the consideration has declined 13% to only 34% from 47% in 2022. And this is actually very different from what you see in the US, where 61% of the customers are saying that they are very likely and somewhat likely to consider purchasing an EV this year. So despite that there are current regulations and there's a hard push to adopt EVs, customers in Canada are still not sold on the idea of automotive electrification. So growing concerns about affordability and infrastructure, both from charging and electrical grid perspective, having just caused a significant decline in the number of consumers who see themselves in the market for an EV anytime soon. So despite a lower consideration rate year over year and a widened gap between the shoppers in the United States, there is still a committed group. 34% of customers in Canada are likely to consider an EV in the next 24 months. So let's see what they say here. So they're saying that the key findings are that EV consideration has gone down. So 66% are saying that they most likely will not be buying an EV in the next 2 years. So range anxiety, purchase price, and charging infrastructure are the top roadblocks. So they're saying that in the Canadian market, they're not considering the EV because that they're saying that the distance is per charge is just not enough. And that's 63% of people saying that. And they're saying that the price is too high. 59% is saying that the price is too high. And 55% is that there's a lack of charging stations available. So, and I don't know, 90% of people would actually be charging at home. The charging stations are useful and needed when you're going on trips. So in the summertime, I know in Canada, a lot of us actually go to trips in the summer, and you need a lot of charging stations during that time. In the winter, probably less. So I do understand that. So environmentally, the weather is different, and I think the lack of that will be a problem. And I know that also when you look at, okay, Tesla has the Tesla supercharging network, and I'm starting to see a lot more Teslas on the road. So even with the volume of Tesla superchargers already established, I'm starting to see that, okay, the more they sell, the more you're going to have this problem. Unless they keep on building more supercharging networks. And I don't know how many is enough, especially if people are going to their cottages in the summer and they do need the range. So I think that will be something interesting in Canada, even though we do only have 40 million people in Canada. The market is much smaller, but the needs are just a little bit different. So the next item they're saying is the lack of consumer exposure presents EV adoption challenges. So despite widespread awareness of EVs and the growth by manufacturers to make EVs test drive available for consumers, 55% of the vehicle's shoppers have never actually test drove an EV, or they've never even driven an EV or sat in an EV. So among the customers in Canada who have rented, borrowed, or test driven an EV, 43% saying that they will somewhat likely consider or very likely consider an EV after that. So EV consideration varies notably by geographic. So the rate of EV adoption in the highest is the Western Canada. 46% of BC people are actually saying that they are interested in EVs. Residents of Quebec, 39%, which I'm very surprised because they actually have a quite good rebate, but that percentage seems to be low. BC also has a very good provincial rebate as well. With the federal and provincial, they actually get a significant decrease, which probably would bring why these two provinces are the better provinces in percentage-wise, because the price is actually a little bit lower. But then when you look at Ontario, which is the most populated province, 34%. That's still in the middle interest of EVs compared to other provinces. When you look at Atlantic Canada, it's 26%. And the prairies, it's only 22%. And there are reasons why. Because in the prairies, there's less population, which means they probably would have less charging infrastructure. And then that will make people be concerned about having the need to actually have charging infrastructure. So I think this all adds up, and it's a chicken or egg thing. Do you build all the charging infrastructure and then wait for people to buy EVs, or you build them as they sell more of them, right? And I think this is hard. The confidence level of EVs, and especially the Canadian winter, the cold months are there are many months of cold months, and even from my PHEV, my 450h Plus, from a summer getting like a range of 75 kilometers to just like a shy of 50 something kilometers in the winter, losing about 30% of charge. And then when you look at if you get like a 400 kilometer EV and you lose the charge, like even a Tesla, like a 500 kilometer Tesla, you're looking at 300 kilometers in the winter. So those months are really dreadful, and you just need to make sure that you have the capability of charging. And also just being able to get a level 2 charger at home, and if there are rebates to do that, that probably would increase the EV adoption. But if not, people having a 100 amp switch at home and needs to upgrade it to a 200, or they have to share it with their dryer plug, I think there's a lot of consideration that is needed to get an actual EV adoption to go higher. And when you look at it, if everybody went and said, okay, let me just go and buy a hybrid and I can save on gas already, status quo, everything is good, maybe that's a lot of the reasons why they're still looking at driving hybrids rather than driving EVs. So let's continue down and see what else they have to say here. Okay, so that's all there really is on this. And the study is about 4,488 customers from April to May 2023. And this is the press release of it. And I would say this is interesting. The difference between the northern side of North America and the southern side is totally two different things. and we can see that the adoption is totally different, and I totally understand that the adoption of this is a little bit harder in Canada because of the winter months and also because of the pricing of the vehicles. Charging infrastructure, yes, it is a concern, but if you do get like a 500 kilometer EV, I would say that's great for a lot of people who charges at home. And when you're on a trip, maybe that's where you need to go and rent a gas vehicle or a hybrid or a PHEV. That probably will do the job. So we'll have to see what this will trend in next year. As battery technology changes, I think things will get better. If you can charge from 10 to 80 in 10 minutes, and that gives you 700 kilometers, I think that will actually change how people think, because then you don't need to sit and wait half an hour at these charging stations. So you don't need to build as many charging stations. So I think time will actually make this change. But for the folks in Canada, I understand why the EV adoption is lower, and a lot of it is cost related, and a lot of it is also the convenience. This one is actually quite interesting, that to see that Canada is actually going the other side compared to other countries in the world. I hope that this information is informative to you, and until next time, drive safely. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please comment, like, and share this video. If you'd like to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel and press that alert button to get notified when new videos are posted. If you'd like to support the channel, you can definitely provide a super thanks. I'll see you guys again next time in the next video.